one of the main prerequisites for you to manifest your desired reality is you need to ascend your reactive self. Now, what do I mean by reactive self? Now, the reactive self is part of your lower consciousness or low vibration, right? And most of the time, you sabotage your own manifestations because your reactive self is not in control or you haven't ascended it. So let's define what reactive self is, right? So your reactive self reacts emotionally to external circumstances. So if you want to manifest abundance or more money into your life or more health, or you want to attract a specific partner, whatever it may be, right? If you start reacting to your external circumstances that, oh my god, I don't have this partner, I don't have money. If you let your external reality determine your circumstances, then that is your reactive self being more dominant than you, right? And I'm sort of saying that this reactive self is like a separate entity from yourself, right? Because when your reactive self is dominant, you're not even aware of your own emotions. You tend to react more, you tend to react in a more automatic way, which is the second point, right? So when your reactive self is dominant and you're not even aware of your reactive self, then it tends to be more automatic. And this can be seen as you taking out your anger on someone else, or you being sad without even knowing that you can change your emotions, right? So this automatic behaviors and reactions to that you react emotionally to external circumstances, and if this is the case, then that means your reactive self is being more dominant, right? And the reason why I treat the reactive self as a separate entity rather than just being a part of yourself is most of the time, once you become aware of your own emotions, you can start controlling it, right? Your reactive self is nothing but your ego being more dominant, right? Because your ego starts to associate with the physical world that is outside of you, which is not the case, right? Physical reality is just an illusion. You can just see like 0.0035% of your entire reality. So that means more than 99% of the reality is not visible to the naked eye. So when you react to the external circumstances, then that means you start associating with the physical reality. You start believing that whatever you experience is real, but majority of it is an illusion. So this is just an ego play. Now, what do I mean by ego? Ego is just the part of yourself that can sense, that can feel, that can touch the physical reality, right? So your reactive self is nothing but your ego trying to make sense of the world, right? So your reactive self will emit emotions like sadness, worry, fear, anger, shame, guilt when facing adversity. So we humans tend to react negatively more than positively, right? Whenever we face adversity, the first our immediate response is fear, anger, emotion, worry, etc. Because we are wired that way, right? Because in the early days, or in the early days when humans were just hunters and gatherers in the forests, they needed to use these emotions to watch out for predators, like because their survival depended on it. And our brains are in fact we have the same primal brains that our ancestors had back in the past. So we tend to react more negatively when we face adversity, right? Because the mind thinks that its survival is at stake. The next thing is, the reactive self thinks that the world is the cause for its reactions. So now you can say, okay, Nitish, I'm reacting to whatever happens outside, right? Like it is very human to do. It is a very human like tendency to do that, but it's not the case, right? Because if you've seen my videos at all, you know that, or any good content for the matter that talks about manifestation and reality creation, you know that the physical reality is just an effect. It's not the cause. Your cause is the mental plane, right? Whatever you experience over here, that is what getting reflected in physical reality. Your internal state determines your physical reality, right? So when you react emotionally, when you react negatively to whatever happens on the outside, then you think that the world is the cause for your reaction. The reactive self thinks that the world is cause for its reactions. When you know deep, when you realize and understand that the cause is the mental plane and not the physical plane, you will stop reacting, right? So now let's take an example, right? So let's say you want to manifest something, and here you are, and let's say you want to become rich, you want to attract more money into your life. So here you are, you assume the feeling of already having. We have talked about this, right? You assume the feeling of already having. You are being the self, you are assuming yourself that you already make enough money, and you are at peace, you are relaxed, you're calm, you're joyful, you're confident, and you do your manifestation practice. This can be affirmations or visualization, it can be anything, right? So you are in a relaxed state, and being in this state, feeling the emotions that you would feel if you were in your desired reality. You're doing everything in a correct way, in the correct order, right? Now what happens is, let's say you want to be rich, but you see your account balance and you see you don't have enough money, and there are upcoming bills that are coming in your way, right? And you don't know how you are going to gather the money to pay those bills. Now there are two choices that you can make, or there are two situations that can happen. You can either maintain the same state, right? You don't let your reactive self sabotage your manifestations, and you can maintain it, right? You can maintain your emotional state, and that will lead to more intuitive signs or signals on what action you need to take in order to pay those bills. Or you can let this scenario affect you, affect your emotions, and you can react, which confirms the reality that you are poor, you are broke, right? And you are right back to your old reality. And this is why many people sabotage their manifestations. It's because they let their external reality, their physical reality, affect them and make them react in a negative way. And that is where the reactive self becomes dominant, right? Now I will talk about how you can process those negative emotions. I'm not saying you need to completely eliminate emotions. That is impossible. We are humans and we are emotional creatures. You can't do that. I will talk to you about how you can maintain it after I explain some critical points that you need to understand. So when you react, right? When you react, I will come over here so that you can see. So when you react, you give away your power to external reality, right? So when you react in an emotional way because you see your bills coming up, you see a bank balance, or it can be anything. When you react, you essentially give away your power and let reality tune your frequency, which ultimately shapes your reality, right? If you don't take charge, if you don't take responsibility and tune your frequency, then the world will tune it for you, right? You will be victim to the world rather than you being the master to the world. And if you give away your power, then you have no control to master reality, and whatever you want to manifest will not materialize into physical reality because you have just given away your power to external reality. You are not the master, and if you're not the master, then how can you manifest your desired reality? And the second point is, when you react negatively, you resonate with the old frequency, right? When you start doing these manifestation practices, which I talk about in my other videos, when you start doing it, and if you don't maintain it, right? If you don't maintain it and you react, then that means you resonate with the old frequency. You still believe that you are poor. You still believe you are still being the version of you in your old reality, right? The secret to manifesting anything you want is being the version of you who will be in your desired reality in the present moment. If you're not being your highest self, if you're not being your ideal self in the present moment, then that means you are still stuck in your old reality. And the universe will take it as a signal, and it will reflect back, and it will put you in a reality where you still want enough money, but since you're reacting, you will not have enough money, you will not have enough abundance. And you can extrapolate this to anything you want. If you want more health, if you want a relationship, it can be anything. If you want a house, if you want a car, if you react in a negative way, you resonate with your old frequency. And if you resonate with your old frequency, then that means you agree with your old frequency, and that means you will be put back in your old reality. Your reality will not change, right? So what can you do? What can you do to ascend the reactive self? And that is, you can shift from your reactive self to your responsive self. What do I mean by that? Emotional control is very important when it comes to reality creation and manifestation. And if you're reactive, then not only from a manifestation perspective, your general life itself will be harder. Relationships will be hard to maintain, friendships will be hard to maintain, because if you keep reacting in a negative way and allowing the external reality determine your circumstances, then people will not trust you, right? They will think that you are an emotionally immature person, and your relationships will take a hit, which will affect your emotions more, And if you keep getting worried, if you keep getting angry, if you keep getting, it can be any negative emotion. If you keep emitting that negative emotion, then that will get reflected back by the universe. And whatever the universe reflects back, it will be magnified, which will make you more worried, more stressed, more anxious. And that will form a vicious loop of self-sabotage. So it is very important that you control your reactive self, right? And that is why I'm here to discuss about it. So the first thing you can do is raise your awareness. If you're living like an NPC, if you're living your life in autopilot, and if you're not even aware of what emotions you face every day, how you react, if you're not in control, then that means you don't have enough awareness, right? So the best way to raise your awareness is just meditate, right? Sit down, close your eyes, just watch your breath for 15 minutes every day and gradually improve upon it. And initially it will be hard, but the more you do it, the better you become at it. And this has a plethora amount of benefits, but from a manifestation and reality creation perspective, you becoming more aware of your emotions and being in control of it, right? Because once you are aware, like let's say there's a situation that triggers you and some negative emotion is popping up. First you need to be aware that there's an emotion inside you, right? You need to be in a state of awareness where you can take a step back and realize that, okay, I'm angry, or okay, I'm anxious, or okay, I'm sad, right? You need to become aware of whatever you're feeling during those negative times. And the best way to do it is to raise your awareness, and the best way to raise your awareness is to meditate. Don't overcomplicate anything, right? Just sit down, close your eyes, and follow your breath. It is as simple as that. There's no need to complicate anything, right? And the second step is to pause, like whenever you are facing a negative emotion, just pause and let yourself feel the emotion, right? I'm not saying to react, but let yourself feel the emotion. What you resist will persist. So if you resist that emotion, if you try to suppress down that emotion, then that is very dangerous, because when you suppress down the emotion, then that emotion gets stored in your subconscious mind. And since your subconscious mind shapes your reality, if you're worried and if you suppress it and that gets stored in your subconscious mind, then you will be in situations where it makes you more worried, right? Let's not do that. Let yourself feel that emotion, right? Instead of reacting. So let's say I have a bill that is coming up. Now I notice that there's a negative. Let's say I'm worried. I notice that I'm worried. I pause. I don't make any decisions. I don't take any action. I just sit and I just let myself feel that emotion. Let myself feel that I'm worried, right? I tell to myself, okay, I'm worried. The bill is coming up. I don't know what to do, but it's okay. And I let myself be worried. That's the second step. Don't resist it. Don't resist it. Just let yourself feel, right? And once you let yourself feel that emotion, after some time, this can be even in a couple of minutes or even an hour, how much ever time it takes. Once you let yourself feel that emotion, it will gradually go away, right? All emotions are temporary, right? The more you let yourself feel that emotion, the more gradually it will get released and it will move on, right? And the next step and the final step is respond. So now that you don't have any emotion, I'm not saying don't, it's not like you don't have any emotion. Now you're not in the negative emotion that is consuming you, that is dominating your mind. Once you let go of that emotion by letting yourself feel it and passing it away. And the one more technique that you can use, you can write it down. Whenever you're feeling a negative emotion, just take down a notebook and write down whatever you're feeling. Because once you let those thoughts, those emotionally charged thoughts, written in a notebook, that becomes so much easier for you to let go. Right? So writing is another good technique that I use, and I recommend it to you as well. So whenever you're facing a negative emotion, just write down whatever you feel. Just write down whatever that comes to your mind, and you'll feel better, significantly more better. You will feel significantly more better, right? So the last step is to respond. Now you don't have any negative emotion that is holding you back. Now you can clearly think on what you can do. And now since you're maintaining the state, like once you let go, let me give you, once you let go, you become neutral, right? You are in a neutral state. Now what you can do is focus you can start focusing on the things you want. So let's say you want more abundance, and by abundance I mean, let's say you want more money. You can start focusing on the things that you want. So right, so whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you feel bliss, feel relaxed, you can do that. This can be, if you want to play some games, go ahead and do it. If you want to read some books. But the trick here is you have to let go first, and then you can start doing the things that relax you, or focus on the things that you want, that makes you feel more abundant, makes you feel more relaxed or rich, or it can be anything. It can be any positive emotion. Anything that you do, or that you see, or that you consume, it can be content as well. Anything that you do that makes you get any positive emotions, do that, right? But the one thing that I see many people do, that the mistake that I see many people do is they do not let go of the negative emotion. They use this as a coping mechanism to deal with their emotion. And if you do that, then that means you are suppressing your emotion. I don't want you to do that. First, you need to fully embrace that emotion, let go of it, come to a neutral state, and only then focus on the things that you want, or do the things that you would do that relaxes you. And after that, you can respond to the situation, right? So let's say there are some bills coming up. First, feel the emotions that you would feel. Let's say if you're worried, feel that emotion, let go of it, come to a neutral state, do something that relaxes you, or focus on the things that you want. So let's say you want to make $10,000 or $20,000 per month. Imagine yourself in that scenario where you're making $20,000 per month, and mentally spend that like enjoy your life mentally, right? Imagine yourself telling your mom or dad or your wife that you have become a huge business success and you're making this much of money, and live your life mentally, enjoy your life mentally. Imagine yourself being financially free. And once you do that, once you have raised your vibration and you are filled with positive emotions, and then you can respond appropriately. Because in that state, in that positive state, you will get intuitive signs on what action to take, right? Because since you have maintained your frequency rather than sabotaging it, you will get intuitive signs on what action to take, so that you can pay those bills in that particular example, right? So that is how you ascend from the reactive self to the responsive self, and I will see you in another video.